Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Putri Hanna Aulia, and in this video, I want to present an article. But before continue to my presentation, I do apologize because when I show the article, I can't show my face because of my limited device. So I do apologize of you. And now let's start the article. Let's start by showing the article. In this video, I'm going to present an article titled Fostering Low English Proficiency Learners Reading in a Freshman EFL Reading Class by Yi Xuanlin, Mei Rong Alishan, and Xiao Ling Xu, published in 2021 in the International Journal of English Linguistics. Let's jump right into the analysis. The first one is about research objective. The research objective can be found on page 55 at the end of the introduction session. The study aims to compare the instructional effects of using e-textbook versus traditional textbooks on Taiwan's university freshman students' performance in reading comprehension summative test use behavior. Investigate the effect of reading strategy instruction using the interactive multiple choice question of the e-textbook platform on Taiwan's university freshman students' performance in reading comprehension formative quizzes, user behavior, and examine Taiwan's university freshman students' perceptions of the two textbook mediums: perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, and attitude. In short, this study aims to evaluate three main areas. First, comparing the impact of e-textbook versus print textbooks on students' summative test performances. Second, investigating the effectiveness of interactive reading strategies on the e-textbook platform. And the third, exploring students' overall perception toward both mediums. And the second is the design of the study. It can be found on page 57 and the first paragraph of method. A mixed approach was adapted to collect data. The authors state that they adopted a mixed method approach. It means they combine both quantitative and qualitative methods. The quantitative data come from students' quiz and test scores, which were analyzed using paired sample tests. Meanwhile, the qualitative data were collected through questionnaires and semi-structured interviews. And the next one is how is the data collected? This information is described on page 59. It has 3 points. The first 3.2.4 questionnaire probing students' perception of e-textbook use. The second 3.2.5 selection of interviews and question design. And the last 3.2.6 lesson quizzes and summative reading test. Data collection was carried out through three main instruments. First, quantitative tests consisting of 6 formative lesson quizzes and 2 summative tests. Second, a 5-point Likert scale prevention questionnaire. And third, semi-structured interviews conducted with 6 participants for deeper qualitative insight. And the next one is the data analysis. The data analysis is explained on page 60. On page 60, at the end of this paragraph, for the data analysis on the test, two statistical tests were performed to compare the results between the in-class quizzes and the summative test on the participants' reading comprehension of print textbooks and e-textbook. The research used paired sample tests to compare students' quiz and test score. They also calculated the mean and standard deviation To analyze the questionnaire responses. For the interview data, they used thematic analysis to identify the main ideas and patterns from the students' responses. And the next one is finding, which are presented on page 54 in an abstract. In an abstract, there is the result indicate that the participants performed not differently on the summative reading comprehension test, but performed significantly better on immediate test using the e-textbook. The key findings show that while there is no significant difference between e-textbook and print textbooks on long-term summative tests, students scored significantly higher on weekly formative quizzes when using the interactive e-textbook. However, despite these learning gains, almost half of the students still preferred printed books due to eye fatigue. And the next one is the discussion. The discussion can be found on page 62, 62 and 63. It has 3 points. The first one, 5.1, both print or e-textbook reading requires training on reading skill. The second, 5.2, interactive platform encourage students' activeness and engagement with classroom materials. And the last, point 5.3, reserved attitude toward e-textbook. The authors explain that students need the same basic reading skills regardless of the whether they use print or electronic textbook. They also find that the interactive features of the textbook help students stay more focused and actively engage during learning. However, many students were still reluctant to fully switch to e-textbook because of problems such as eye strain, digital distraction, and limited access to suitable device. In addition, students' long-standing habit of reading printed books also influenced their preferences. And the last is conclusion. This section appears on page 63. The findings showed that the participants scored about the same when reading in each medium. However, the findings also indicate that the participants performed better on quizzes when they were taught reading strategies from the platform using the e-textbook. In conclusion, while e-textbook may not entirely replace traditional print textbook for EFL university students, they serve as a powerful interactive pedagogical tools that boost reading comprehension and engagement, particularly for low proficiency learners. And that's bring me to the end of my presentation. I hope I hope this presentation is clear, and thank you for your time and for your attention. Thank you for watching my video. I do apologize because of my limited device, and I do apologize of the mistake that I did during the video during my presentation. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.